Okay, dates and times. So dates and times are a little difficult to work with. So there's different packages that we will talk about. Okay, for example, like if you look at March 12th, 2024, how do you add 12 days to it? You can't just say in Python, March 12th plus 12. You have to convert them to numbers. And we'll talk about that. Okay, the thing about dates and times are there's a lot of concepts to learn. Okay, for example, there's the idea of epoch time. Okay, so, we needed a time in the computer to be times 0. Because if you look at today, and it's given an epoch time, that means the number of seconds since January 1st, 1970, at 0 hours. Now, I think the reason they picked this date is because I've read some books on Unix, and Unix, the Unix operating system is what was built around 1970. Have you ever heard of IBM mainframes? When I was in school, they didn't have personal computers. They just invented them. So people used the mainframe. Mainframe is extremely large and expensive. So it wasn't until about 1982 or so that Microsoft came and they didn't make Windows, they made DOS. But before that, in the 1970s, they made something called Unix. Now, Unix now is the basis. It's what Mac uses. It's what Android uses, and Ubuntu. Now, Microsoft is something different. But they did that around 1970, and I believe that's why they made that to be time 0. Okay, so Unix was the operating system that was used on what we were called mini computers. And it was the first computers that were kind of affordable, and then businesses and people started buying them. Okay, so anyway, we use the package time, and then we say time to generate epoch time. I'll show that in a minute. Now, UTC, Universal Time Coordinates. Okay, so we're here in Cyprus. The time zone is UTC plus 2, right? In Ukraine, it's UTC plus 2. In the Czech Republic, it's, what is it, Alexei? UTC plus 1?
I guess it's +2. Just a second. No, it's +1. It's +1. Right.
Yeah. And then there's also the idea of daylight savings times. For example, I teach another student right before this class who's in Turkey, and they have not changed the time. Here, Cyprus changed the time. But anyway, so Greenwich is a place in England, and they decided when they made times to make that to be the time 0, and then time zones are either east of that or west of that. Now, it's Cyprus, we're 2 time zones east of that. Okay, New York City is, I think it's 6 time zones from here, so it must be UTC -3. I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, so let's look at some of this stuff here. All right. Okay. And time zones also have names. Okay. See, for example, if like look at a country like, I don't know, look at a country like say Turkey, right? Turkey's pretty big. Well, they wouldn't want, Turkey to be divided into 2 time zones unless they have to. So they might have a time zone called Turkey, which also is part of, say, Greece time zone. Now, the United States has 4 time zones because it's big. right? So you'll see time zones. I'll show you the names here. There's so many, it's ridiculous. Okay. So here, let's run this piece of code here. Okay, first of all, we'll run this one, right? Epoch time. Now, this is how many seconds since 1970, right? That number's so big, I don't even know what that is. That's 1.6 trillion seconds. Is that trillion or billion? Okay. Now, let's look at this. UTC time. Okay, here we used, okay, you used the date time API package, Python package. Okay. And then we used a method called now. And we gave it the time zone of UTC. So that says today is the 11th November. Okay, November is the 11th month. Today is 3, it's 1512. Now notice that that is 2 hours behind us, right? That's because we said use UTC time. Okay, now look at this. Let's get the current time too. Well, that's the date. Where's the time? Look here, here's the time. Okay, that's a specific time. Where's the current time? Okay, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to say date time now and don't give it any time zone. See what it comes up with. Yeah, okay. See, it said 15, 14, 25. That's 15 hours, 14 minutes. Let me look at one thing here more. Let's put code. Remember that if we want to go to the bash shell, we want to go to the operating system on the Google servers. We can type the #. I could say the date and ask this Google virtual machine, Google Colab, what time is it? See? Oh, it gives it in the universal time coordinate system. What I wanted to tell you is when you're using a cloud server, like, Google Colab or virtual machines in Google's data center, it will give you a time that's just different from where you're located. Like, I don't know where these Google servers are, but they're definitely not in Cyprus. They're probably in France or someplace like that. Okay. But anyway, a couple things to notice here. Now look here, look at the date time object has both the date and the time. See, we have, let's see here. Let's look at it like this. So we could say from date time import date, from date time import time. Now I forget whether you say just import date time. Let's see if all 3 of these things work here. Yeah, they do. Now what's the difference? Well, the difference is, you don't, if you're working with writing some computer program, you don't always need to know what time it is. You might just need to know what day it is, right? Like if you're writing a program for a bank and you want to calculate when someone made a cash withdrawal, you might put the date. Okay. Like if I took out money today, I could say today is equal to, so now I'm going to say date. Now I can say year 2023, day equals 3, month equals 11, right? Run that. Oh, let's put print statement here. Okay, that gives today's date. Now, can I say hour equals 17? No, because the date object doesn't allow the time. So if you want the date and the time, you have to use date time. I believe that's how you put it. You might have to put date time, date time. Let's see if it works. Nah. Sometimes you have to say this, date, time, date, time. Let's see if that works. See what I mean? Right? Now, for example, we could say, I don't know, let's say later is equal to time, hour equal to 18. So in Ukraine, what do you use for time? You say 6 p.m. or do you say 18?
Usually 18, but we also can say 6 without specifying it.
Then computer, you cannot. You got to say 1 to 24, right? Or 0 to 24. Seconds. Now the computer also has microseconds. Microseconds can be 0 to 1,000. Now, the computer chip has nanoseconds, but Python does not support nanosecond. A nanosecond's like, I think, a billionth or a millionth of a second or something like this. See? So there's the time.
Does
Okay.
anybody actually use nanoseconds?
Definitely, because I mean, computer cycles are now in nanoseconds, right? Much faster than a microsecond. Okay, so let's now look at some of this stuff here. Okay, so here's how to get the current date. Obviously, we just use today. Now, if I click this, just prints today. Pretty simple, right? Now, formatted time. You know, if I put like, where did I get the current time here? I got, okay, nobody can read that, right? That's not very useful. So you have to learn about how to format time. Now, see, strf time means string format time. So for example here, look at this very long thing here down below. Where is it? Look, there's many, many options, right? If I run this thing here, okay, up here I made the date. I said today is D. So look at all these things here. Let's see if we can figure out what they are. Well, obviously the little a means write the name of the day using just 3 letters. You know, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like this. Okay, and then the big A says write the whole word. Now, one thing we're going to talk about is, I'm just going to click here to show you for a minute. Not today, but later, we'll talk about localization. Meaning you can make it be Greece, you can make it be Cyprus, you know, Germany, and it'll use the German language, but it'll also understand how you write dates and times and money and everything in different countries. All right, so we can put here, we can say DSTRF time. Okay, so it's pretty easy to see that, you know, 1, 2, 3. The third thing is the 5, right? %sign W. That must mean Let's see what it means. It's 5. Anybody know what why today is 5? It means it means it's the 5th day of the week, you know, the 5th day of the week. I know in different countries, sometimes they count Monday as the first day, but evidently here in computers, we use Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Paraskevid. I think that's Greek. I think it means 5. Okay, so what is so we can say this is well, we won't use that one. We'll use the next one. We'll say the date. Okay, date. Or actually day, %d. That one's kind of easy to remember. It's just lowercase d, right? That's November to 22nd, because when I created, I ran it up here. I put November to 27th. But anyway, so go back to where I was here. Okay, so where is what do you think is the month? You could probably guess rather than memorize these things and just say M.
%M.
Yeah, just take a guess, right? But then what about year? Well, there's a small one,
Probably.
and then there's a big one too, right? A big one too. Let's see what the difference is. Right? One of them's 4 digits, one of them's 2 digits. Okay. Then what is, let's see, what comes after that? H. H. Let me change D to B now. Okay. Run this again. Okay, so what is H? It's gonna be 0. Why do you think that is? Why, if I put D equal date today, why is the hour 0? If you think about it, it's not a very complicated question. It's because I didn't use the time object. I used the date object, right? We just talked about that. What's the difference between dates and times and date time? Right? So how do we get date time now? Date time. Date time. Date time. I think you just say now. Is that right? Maybe not. Maybe you got to say date time now. Yep, there we go. So now we'll make D be equal to this, right? We use the date time object. And so now when we do this, it should not say 0. It should say, it still says 0. Why does it say 0? D equals today. Because that, oh, I put A, sorry. D equals date time now. Okay. There. It says 15. Why does it say 15 and not 17?
Probably lowercase. No, it's just GMT1. Oh, GMT0, sorry. GMT0. And so we are in like GMT1 and GMT2.
Well, I think this %Z, I think this one will give us the time zone. Z, let's see here. It gives a blank. Let me show you. Okay, where do we talk about ISO? Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's print off the time in ISO format. Look at this. Okay, the ISO format is commonly used format for representing dates and times. Let's see what it says. It says the day. Here's the date, right? Year, month, day. Then it has T, meaning next comes the time, but then where's the time zone? It's supposed to show the let's see if I can find it. I have to go look this up. Okay. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Go to Chat GPT. When in doubt. Okay. Write Python code to show the current date and time in ISO 8601 format. It should include the time zone. I don't want to have to do that. I'll just show you what it looks like. Okay. What is ISO 8601 date format? I mean, date and time format. Yeah, okay, like see this one? Okay, so see, this is what I'm talking about here. So it says it's 11 November 3rd, 1545 minus 5. That means the time zone offset, right? So this is putting the time zone in the output. Okay. Now, it also says minutes. Why would you need time zone in minutes? Well, it turns out one country, at least one country, India, has a time zone that goes for 30 minutes. You know, like, okay, what is the current time? And okay, well, the Indian time zone is, I think India is 5.5 hours ahead of here, or ahead of Greenwich. Okay, so anyway, now let's talk about how to calculate, how to add dates and times. Okay, so we have this thing called a time delta object, right? So like if we want to do like, you know, how would we do like, I don't know, November the 3rd, 2023 plus, you know, 17 days, right? I know Joachim's done this because I copied Joachim's homework here. That's what this is. Okay, well, we can't do that. So we use this thing called time delta. See, if we want to make 17 days, we can say like this. We can say 17 is equal to, now I need the time delta object. I think I already have it. We say this. So we just say 17 days. That's a difference in time. The word delta is a Greek word. It means change. In math class, we use this symbol for delta. It means change. So like here, let's see if this works. Okay, let's take date time now. Okay, now or today, which is date time now. Okay, then we can just say today plus 17 days. See how it works? What date is that there? November the 20th, right? So it works. Okay, here's another example here. Okay, let's just run this. This is Joachim's code. Joachim wrote this. Okay, so this is the homework that we had. Joachim took this class earlier this summer, part of it, and then he went and took a job, right? And he wasn't able to finish, so he came back, and now we're at that point. So he gets the current date using what we just talked about now, formats it. He puts day, month, year, capital HMS to write this, right? Which that's normally how you write it, right? You write hours. That's called a colon, minutes, seconds. Okay, then he says, okay, let's add to that 14 days, 14 hours, 14 minutes, and 14 seconds. So we take that current date and time and we make a time delta, which is here. Then we can just add the two, right? Okay. Now, someone tell me, how can we make yesterday? If today, date, time, let's say date, let's say date now. Then how can we make yesterday from that?
We should create time delta that is going to be equal to days 1, and that's gonna be it.
-1. -1. Just take -1 days, go backwards.
It shouldn't go backwards because it's minus minus, so it's actually plus.
Very good. That's true. That's true. Plus -1. Everybody see that? That's good, Alexander.
Okay.
Okay, then here. Okay, so what did we not talk about yet? Formatting dates. Now, if you Google this, you can find out what UWCX, all these things mean. There's so many of them. I don't remember what 43 is. All these things. The time zone is not here, I believe, because I did not set the time zone. You don't often work with time zones, frankly. You would if you were doing probably front-end programming. Okay, so here I talked about go back 1 week. -7. Okay, now to end this here, I made homework. Okay, so for the homework, I want you to calculate the current epoch time. Okay, then figure out how many days, hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds that is. And then I gave a hint, right? A hint is, for example, if we have 600 seconds, well, how many minutes is that? Divided by 60,
That's the minutes.
right? If 24 hours is how many minutes?
1440.
Yeah, you just keep dividing, so anyway, it's an exercise in just simple arithmetic. Stop recording now.